back with us. So, Chris, do you agree with this list? What do you think?
First of all, I take the decision off the list.
I agree.
Keep it on the court,
I
basketball.
agree.
Okay.
And I didn't have any problem with the decision anyway. That's just me.
It's kind of a separate.
Yeah, and a lot of kids in Cleveland are still benefiting from the computers. Yeah, so I hear you, Skip.
Okay.
And I do think LeBron wanted to live out that college. He never went to college. Right. And what do you see when high school kids, when they pick, I'm taking my talents to Michigan or Florida.
Good point.
That's what I really believe there was a part of that. That's what went into it. And it kind of backfired on him. But so if we take the decision out, Bleacher Report had it at 4. I do think I have it on 4 on my list. And the 3 I have ahead of it, obviously number 1 is Dallas. That was his tragic Johnson
We all
moment.
agree with
that.
Yeah.
Number 2, I got number 2, Boston 2010. Because that Lakers, I covered that series for ESPN. LeBron was ridiculous in game 3.
It was on a Friday night at Boston Garden.
Yes, what he had 21 or 24 in the first quarter?
He had 38, 8.
38 overall. He had like 24 in the it was over.
Complete destruction.
Yes.
It was. He was unstoppable.
It was ridiculous. And I always
that put them up 2 games to 1.
And then I still don't know what happened in the last 3 games. It was a mystery. But I think that number 2. Number 3 was Orlando. And back to that 2010 team though. If they had gotten past Boston, which I think they could have, they had beaten the Lakers twice. They had swept them during the regular season. That was when all the Kobe versus LeBron finals commercials were coming on. The Lakers, I don't want to say they feared the Cavs, but they knew that Cavaliers team gave them problems because that Cavs team had some size too. So, but anyway, if he had won that championship, that's a legacy-changing type thing. Number 3, Orlando, the year before, 2009, Dwight Howard was it was a matchup nightmare for the Cavs. They won 66 games that year.
Dwight Howard was like 26 and 13
for
the series.
He was destroying them, and they didn't know what to do. They couldn't guard him. And I think that is when LeBron, in my opinion, that's when the first spark entered his mind of
shooters.
I got to get some superstars. The next year he didn't have them either, and they were really good. But I think that's probably when it began to enter his mind that he needed superstars to win. And so I got it at 4th. The Lakers went at 4th. And the other 3 to me are legacy. If he had won those years, those would have been legacy changing. Whereas this year, look, I think if LeBron, let's say he just fades out, doesn't win any more titles and begins to get older, I don't think that's changing his legacy. Because he's in his 16th year, he's older. People would look at that. So that's why I have it 4.
Well, I agree with you, Skip. Skip. Chris, I took the decision. I took the 2018 final sweep off. I mean, you can't say the man with that team that they actually thought. So I guess if he had just won a game, we would view him different. Do you view, if LeBron James had won 1 game in the 2018 finals, would you actually view him differently? Absolutely not. Because he still almost averaged a triple-double. With 30.
Tell me when it's my turn.
It's not your turn just yet because it was my turn.
Sorry, not yet.
The finals, there's no question. I mean, there's no way around it. And that's what Skip Bayless always goes back to. Even after he won the 2016, Skip Bayless went back and drugged that up. And this man
drugged what up?
You know what?
The meltdown? Is that what you're talking about?
No. 2011.
Oh, 20. That one. That's the meltdown. It's chosen one goes frozen one. It's like, what happened?
You see what you do?
Well, what do you mean drug it up? Did it happen?
In 2016.
On the biggest stage in the game?
Let's see what I'm saying. In my moment, why are you bringing up something I did in my past, in the childhood?
Let me have this expunged from his legacy?
No,
I don't know.
But it's
Has the statute of limitations run out on that?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, when that comes up is when GOAT talk comes up. That's when it comes up, because you nitpick. But other than that,
nitpick.
All the other ones, the tragic Johnson moment.
Go ahead. I want to hear what you guys say. Go ahead. I'm going to refute your stuff.
Okay, refute.
Yes.
Okay, obviously the meltdown's number 1. But number 2, LeBron got a pass for this, and it just drove me nuts. I wrote about it for ESPN.com. I'm talking about the 2014 finals. The 2014 finals.
No, 2015.
No, 2014.
When Kyrie got hurt. No.
Oh,
Spurs.
Spurs.
Oh.
Yeah, LeBron gets a total pass for this one because it's 1-to-1 going to Miami for 2 games. That's 2-2-1-1-1 format, okay? And in games 3 and 4 in his house in Miami, LeBron was just as bad as he was when he melted down in the finals against Dallas. Go back and look at it. Go back and look.
What were his numbers? What were his numbers?
He had 22 in the first game with 7 turnovers. And listen, I know his game. He was completely disengaged. He was out of it. He played with no passion, no conviction. It looked like he was unplugged from the basketball game. And again, I'm rooting for the Spurs, and I'm just sitting watching it saying, what are you doing? This is the turning point. If you win this game, you're back in control of the finals. And then in this will be the 4th game at home, he did score 28, but he had only 2 assists in that game. And in both of those home games, he barely got to the free throw line because he was not in attack mode in either game. Their team, obviously,
Wade
he
was on one leg.
Okay, but LeBron was by far the best player on the floor at that point. He just was.
I know.
I'm sorry.
And 28-8-6 says he was.
Okay.
For the series.
Okay,
Yes,
but in the end, they get blown off. He was minus 21 in both those home games. LeBron James was minus 21. You can't defend that. That was just wrong. Like, he wasn't into it. Maybe he looked at Dwayne and said, I can't do this with Dwayne. I don't know.
You got that as number 2?
I got it number 2 because they got blown off the floor by a record finals margin.
And the Spurs shot a record number margin from 3.
But Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker were, you want to talk about aging, they were way up there.
What about those 3s that they was knocking them down?
Okay,
the Bellinelli and Danny Green. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, but where was LeBron? I don't know where he went. Remember, he cramped in game 1.
28-8-6.
Okay,
like
it was not LeBron. It was, okay, and number 3 for me is that Boston series because it was pathetic. And my friend Stephen A. Smith at ESPN reported that somebody in the camp said that LeBron had to be sedated before games, what would that be, 4, 5, and 6, because he was having a locker room issue. I don't want to go into the gory details, but you remember all this?
Well, you all brought it up. Now you got people going to go Google it.
Well, everybody knows what it was, but the point was, I don't know what happened because after maybe the greatest playoff game he ever played in game 3, then I don't know, he unplugs. He just disassociates like, I'm not into this anymore. And Dan Gilbert went so far as accusing him of quitting in that series. Well, that's a low point. And then number 4 to me, you talked about last year's finals, but when he pouted after it broke down at the end of the game in game 1, they had them on the ropes. That was a low point for me watching LeBron's career.
You think they would have won that series, though?
Yes. I thought, well, if you break through and win game 1, I don't know what's going to happen. You had them dead to rights.
I know what was going to happen.
LeBron should have taken the last shot, but whatever, it all went to
pass.
hell. Okay, I'll give you all that. But whatever happened, it's still tied going to overtime, and LeBron goes and sits down at the end of the bench, and he won't even engage in the sideline huddle before overtime, and then he pouts and won't shoot in overtime. That's a low point to me. He's better than that. He's all-time great. Come on.
So where do you have this?
Okay.
This season?
Okay. You know what? I don't put it on the list because it was just a squandered opportunity. He had a chance this year to do the greatest thing he's ever done, which if he took these kids to the 4 seed and they got to the conference finals, I would have had to sit here and say, that's just great. That's all time. That's the equivalent of taking cadavers because they're all just kids and you're going to carry them all the way. Okay, but they didn't. And I don't know what happened with the pulled groin. I still don't, he tweeted the next day. I keep bringing it up.
He didn't tear it.
Dodged a bullet back in no time. And then the Lakers got upset with him because he wouldn't come back because they thought he was clear. The doctors had cleared him to come back. And remember, Rich Paul got angry about it. I don't know what happened, but it just went up in smoke the whole year. It got off to such a great start, and then it just went away. But I can't put it as a disappointment because they did have so many injuries. I don't know what happened.
If you guys don't mind me asking, in that 2010 finals, do y'all guys think Ray Allen will be in the Hall of Fame? Oh, my bad, he made it. What about Kevin Garnett? You think Kevin Garnett is going to be a Hall of Famer?
The 2010 conference semifinal?
Yeah. Okay. You think Kevin Garnett? What about Paul Pierce? You think Paul Pierce will go to
all 3 of them.
Hold on. So you mean I just want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. Now, I know a guy that got swept twice by a team that had 3 Hall of Famers. And ain't nobody said they hold that against him. Now, LeBron James.
But you don't think, you don't have 2010 on your list against Boston?
No.
The reason I don't think anybody's faulting him for losing to that team, but the way it happened, they had them beat. I agree with you. And I was talking with, he had the elbow. I don't know, something was going on with,
the bird.
But he was playing. I wrote my column that next day after game 3. This is LeBron James when he's angry. Because everybody was on him about the elbow and he's making excuses. He went out there upset and demolished them.
It was
And again, I don't know what, it's all types of stuff that may have happened to lead him into that funk.
Right.
But just the way it happened, it was because I thought, look, I always felt when LeBron